following podcast contains references to the consumption of alcohol. If you are not of legal drinking age, please do not consume alcohol. Also, if you are of legal drinking age, please drink responsibly.
Wait, can you give us a quick update on the Spider-Verse?
This is a show where we have a drink, and we try to be succinct, and then we talk about Mac and Me for 15 minutes.
Hi, welcome to the part of the podcast where we make sure our house is not getting burned down. Matthew just ran off to double check a match, and hopefully he comes back and nothing has been on fire. Hi, welcome to Rhetorical Magic Cocktail Hour. My name is Ryan, and my favorite sexy vampire is the Count from Sesame Street.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Puppety action. I'm Matthew, and my favorite sexy vampire is Celine from Underworld.
Yep.
Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
Mid-2000s. Edgelord.
Lots
Culture.
of pleather.
Yep. So much pleather. So much pleather. So much rain.
So much pleather. So much latex. It was just, it was a look. The whole thing was a vibe.
Impractical.
You can't be you expect someone to be practical while they're trying to kill vampires or be the best vampire. I don't know that I've seen Underworld, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
I've seen the first 3. So, you've seen Twilight,
There's
and that's...
3?
There's 5.
What?
Yeah, there's a lot of them, and maybe some of them don't need to be made. But, fun fact, Michael Sheen is in them.
Oh, shit.
Who plays one of the Volturi in Twilight. He plays a werewolf.
Yeah. So I feel like you're teasing what we're going to be talking about today, but first we should do... I'll tell you after you tell me what you're drinking this afternoon. Reasonable time of a day to be
not
a couple beers in.
Not 11:17 a.m. So this is a podcast. We have a drink. We try to be succinct.
Yes.
Today I'm drinking an all-day IPA by Founders, because maybe, just maybe, we might be recording all day. Or not recording all day, but watching movies and recording all day. Ryan, what are you drinking?
I am going to come on and slam and drink this Tropic Slam by Boulevard. I keep doing the hand thing. I keep showing it to Matthew like a 2014 makeup
vlogger
tutorial.
Yeah, just welcome to the jam.
Welcome to the jam. But yeah, so we are going to be talking the latest just kidding, it's not the latest installment. The next installment of Twilight Breaking Dawn.
The penultimate installment.
Thank you for putting that word in my head again.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna use it wrong 8 times.
We'll just keep saying it this episode and it will be right. But don't you dare say it next episode.
But yeah, so we're talking about Twilight. Also, because we have been drinking at maybe unreasonable... We would like to take this moment to remind you to drink responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
And
do as
be
we say,
chill about it.
Do as we say, not as we do.
Precisely. But yeah, so we're talking about the next Twilight, the penultimate Twilight movie.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking Dawn Part 1. Just a little background. I have seen all of Twilight. I read Twilight in middle school. Matthew did not, and as adults, I make him watch them.
Yes. I've seen the first 3, and now I've seen the 4th one.
Yeah, and there's one more. So, without further ado, Matthew, tell us what happens in Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1.
Oh, what doesn't happen in Breaking Dawn Part 1?
Most things,
most things, actually. Everything's forgiven, right? Here's a $50 Olive Garden gift card. So, this story begins where the last film left off, which was Jacob had gotten crunched and got healed by Carlisle. And in this one, it begins, Jacob runs from his house into the woods. The classic Sondheim musical, Into the Woods.
Yes.
Staying on track.
Perfect.
Not going on tangents. So next thing that I remember, Charlie is looking at the wedding invitation because Bella and Edward are to be betrothed in the woods.
It's just behind their house.
I mean, that's the woods.
Kinda.
It's Washington. I almost said Oregon, but that's not right. So basically, the beginning of the movie, they're prepping for the wedding. The vampires are carrying around logs to show that they're strong. Then the wedding happens, and Bella walks down the aisle for a long time. Did I miss something already?
There's so little that happens in this film, and you've already missed.
In my defense, I have no short-term memory. What did I miss?
The dream, and Edward explaining himself, trying to get her to back out.
The dream? What dream?
Okay, so the night before the wedding, Edward comes over.
Uh-huh.
And tries to tell Bella, like, hey, by the way, low-key, know we're getting married tomorrow, but thought you should know I've murdered people.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Fun fact.
And then we get a nice, sequence back in the 20s? 40s?
Maybe. Time doesn't matter in Twilight.
Illusion.
The only thing Stephanie Meyer researched was Confederate names, so we'll get into that in a minute. Yeah, because there are some timeline inconsistencies with the book and movie in a way that the movie did it to maybe try to make more sense. But it's the whole thing. Okay, so
anyway. Wedding.
So no, not yet, because the dream... Do you not remember the dream?
I don't remember the dream. Just watched the film and I could not tell you what the dream... I remember there being multiple dreams in this film, but I don't remember one this early on.
Yes, there was one this early on. So Bella's like, hey, it's chill and cool that you're a murderer. And then she goes to sleep, dreams about the wedding the next day, her walking down the aisle.
Oh, the Age of Ultron moment.
What?
Or... Everybody's in a dead pile at the wedding. Yeah, okay, I do remember this dream.
Yeah, that didn't really happen in the movie. It was all a dream.
It was only just the dream.
Yes.
But yeah, so Bella has a premonition dream of the wedding where all of a sudden everybody's gone and she and Edward are covered in blood. And then it pans out, and there's just a big pile of bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Like an Age of Ultron. The worst Avengers movie.
I mean, realistically, this might be the worst Twilight movie, so maybe that's what does it.
This is the Age of Ultron of Twilight movies. So, now wedding?
Yes, now wedding.
Okay. Now it's the wedding, and she walks down the aisle for about 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
They get married. They make out for like 20 minutes, and everybody else disappears. And then they go to Rio de Janeiro.
You're missing bits from the wedding, bud. We get introduced to people.
Oh, yeah, we get introduced to some cousins. We see Susie Crabgrass and Anna Kendrick and the other two men.
And the speeches.
And the speeches. Oh, God, those speeches. I think I repressed those speeches because I had, secondhand social anxiety. There's, 4 speeches, and all of them pretty much bomb.
Yeah.
And it's maybe one of the most awkward things I've ever seen in my life. And I'll try to think of something funny to say there, but I could not for the life of me think of something.
There's like 4 speeches, and then, what else? What else happens? So much happens in so little time.
Jacob wasn't at the actual wedding, but then he shows up behind the house after the ceremony, and she, being Bella, has a little moment with him.
Yes.
Which is kind of like foreshadowing that there's going to be conflict there, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because isn't he like, I don't want you to make love to Edward while you're human because he'll kill you or something?
Yep. He does say that. And she tells him to fuck off. She's getting laid as a human if it's the last thing she ever does. And it might be.
It might be. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
We know
Stay tuned.
because we watched the movie.
So now Rio?
Yes.
Okay, so then they go see T-posing Jesus in Rio. For like half a second. I don't 100%. I don't know. It didn't seem like they had to show them actually being in Rio. I feel like they could have just showed them on the boat going to the island.
I think that they wanted to show that they had to tie in, like, the Latino aspects.
Okay.
To make God, this movie is rough.
To make the housekeepers less yikes.
Yeah. I guess it would. Yeah, this one, I don't know. Listen, friends, I loved Twilight, and then during this rewatch, because of everything going on, I was like, do I actually hate Twilight?
We'll see with final thoughts. Yeah, so they go to Rio, and then they go to Isle Esme.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go skinny dipping.
They do that.
And look at the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And they bang and break the bed.
Yeah. You also see Bella groom for the first time throughout all the movies, and I feel like that becomes relevant because of how they lay out events that happen after. It becomes
relevant because she was groomed by Edward. Ayo.
I mean, you're not wrong there, buddy. When you're right, you're right.
Just calling it like I see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they break the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And then, do they just kind of hang out on the island for a long time and play chess a bunch?
Yeah, so the first time that they have sex, because we're adults and we can say it that way.
Half of us are adults.
Edward, in the throes of passion, kind of bruises her.
Mm-hmm.
And it freaks him out, so he tries to distract her with all these things, and doesn't really want to be intimate again. Yes, Matthew?
Can we take a quick break, and not like a break, but like a quick side tour? And I have a question for you that I would like your opinion on.
Okay.
They could do sex stuff that isn't like, for lack of a better term, P&V, right? And still be like,
you have to remember this was written by a Mormon woman.
Okay.
So sex is defined as P&V.
Okay.
And kind of,
you got to look at it through that lens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 'Cause yeah, it's like the whole time it's just like he could. I'm not gonna say that. Never mind.
Yeah. Yes. To any other adult, yes.
Okay.
But no.
Okay. Yeah,
Sex
I just
is only acceptable for making children, or I don't know, because you know what, they didn't think they could have kids.
Well, they had to consummate it for it to be real to God. So
yeah, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. But no, it's.
Though I do have another question about that, but we can get to that after the recap.
Okay, I'm on pins and needles waiting, but
okay,
good.
So, where are we? So
they're not having sex, but they're still on Isle Esme.
Yeah. So then the housekeepers come, and the female housekeeper thinks that Edward is a demon, and that he's doing demon stuff to Bella.
I think that they think that he's brought her to like kill her.
Okay.
Because he is a vampire.
Vampire.
So scary.
So scary. So sparkly.
Yes.
Although he was in the sun a lot and did not sparkle.
Again, budget. We'll get to it in a bit.
So that happens, and then Bella decides that she's hungry, and so she's gonna make a nice meal of chicken, peanut butter, and yogurt, and that's maybe our first sign that she's got some weird cravings. And then she's eating that chicken leg, and all of a sudden she don't feel so good, so she goes and throws up. And guess what? It's the morning, and she's sick. You might say that maybe she has morning sickness.
Yeah.
And then Edward finds her throwing up, and she asks him to hand her the bag, which is open to maybe the most blatant Tampax product placement I've ever seen.
Yeah, I feel like I noticed product placement a bit more in this one.
Because, yeah, she also does brush her teeth with some beautiful Crest toothpaste.
You gotta build up that budget somehow.
That apparently they didn't have. But we'll get to that. But yeah, she sees the tampons and she goes, oh, wait a minute. How long has it been since the wedding? And Edward's like, 14 days. And she's like, oh, I'm late. Oh, actually, before this, when she goes to make the chicken, she sees a note from Edward, and it says, like, I'm out hunting, be back before you wake up, or something. And she says, you're late?
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Hey, yeah.
He's not the only one that's late. So yeah, she's pregnant. She's preggers. With a vampire. But apparently they don't know what that is in this universe.
Nope.
So she starts getting sick. No, she doesn't start getting sick. The housekeepers come visit her, and they're gonna leave to go see Carlisle. Yes.
Okay, you're missing just like a couple of moments. So like, she tells Edward, she starts looking in the mirror, and you can kind of see, like, maybe the start, probably not, but maybe the start. And then she gets a call.
Oh, from Alice.
From Alice.
Yes.
And then they talk to Carlisle, and Carlisle's like, you need to get back immediately. And then the housekeeper comes in and says that Edward's gonna kill Bella, and she basically is already dead because of the...
And is the housekeeper vaguely magical / psychic in a maybe yikes kind of way?
Yes. Not just like... Myers plays into tropes that are just not beneficial or healthy or effective as a plot device. Again, not a lot of research went into this, but I do want to point out that she did take the time to look up Confederate call sheets to find the name Jasper Whitlock. So, like, she can do research, but she just decided not to on any other thing.
Yeah. Where are we? They're going back to see Carlisle.
Yes.
And then there's a big blank spot in my brain. Yes, please save me.
So as they're going back, Edward says specifically, like, Carlisle will get this thing out of you. Bella does not respond well to that.
Mm-hmm.
And then as they're getting on the plane to go back to Forks, Edward goes out to talk to the pilot. Bella calls Rosalie and says, hey, I need your help. And then they start concocting the thing to tell Charlie that they're extending their trip because Bella is sick.
Okay.
Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly what happens next. The next thing I remember is... I just remember a lot of scenes where she's, like, ill in the Cullen house.
Yes, that kind of becomes a big theme. So Jacob hears that Bella is sick, and so she goes... So he goes to the Cullens' house to confront and be like, so is she turned, basically? Or, like, did she not? Whatever. And then she's like, Bella calls out, she's like, Jake, is that you? And he comes in, and then he sees that he's pregnant. He sees that she's pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to attack Edward. I'm just gonna keep going until you pick up where you remember.
So, okay, I'll preface this with the next thing I remember is Jake gets mad and, like, turns wolf form and runs. And,
yes.
like, all the other wolves are like, Jake. And
yes,
then
that is what's next, so keep going.
Okay. So, Jacob gets big mad boy and runs into the woods, and all the other wolves kind of, like, hear him with their wolf mind thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a big meeting at what appears to be like a lumber yard on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And basically Jacob and Sam
yes.
kind of have a big tiff because Sam's the alpha of the pack, but Jacob is the grandson of a chief.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sam wants to kill Bella?
And the Cullens.
But Jacob's like, no, Bella's still human. We have to protect her. That's in the treaty.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jacob gets even more big mad, and he becomes the alpha of his own one-man wolf pack and runs off.
Yes.
Which I have a question.
Okay.
So later on in the movie, there's a point where Jacob is meeting with the wolves, and he says something to the effect of, he's in human form, and he says something to the effect of, it would be easier if I could hear what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Can he not hear the wolf mind talking anymore because he's not part of the pack?
Yes.
Or is it just because he's in human form?
Because he's not part of the pack.
Okay. That's what I thought, but it wasn't super clear.
Yeah. I think. It's not super clear. That's
not
like
super clear. That's a big headcanon moment.
Yeah.
Okay. So then next thing I remember, and please correct me if there's something in between this, but next thing I remember is Jacob goes to the Cullens to warn them that the wolves are gonna come after them, and Leah and Seth
first
want to join him. Yeah.
And then Leah comes a bit later. Because Leah is the one who has the information about the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Which was supposed to be like just blitz them and all gone. But they don't have the element of surprise anymore.
Yes. So then I think it's just sort of like Bella is becoming increasingly more ill, and Jacob's kind of hanging out and they're watching football, and the Cullens can't hunt because the wolves are gonna kill them if they leave their house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it kind of gets... I feel like it kind of, at that point, it kind of hits like this kind of montage-esque feel.
Which we did decide that this is the bottle episode / clip show of the movies.
Yeah, there's a lot of flashbacks.
Basically, yeah, it's basically all in one place after a certain point. And then
So yeah, it kind of gets a little montagey. They start showing Bella is getting worse health-wise, and there's like a lot of discussion. So like Alice is kind of freaked out because she can't see Bella's future anymore,
right?
And can't get a grasp of what is like growing inside of her. And then there's a lot of like argument about like people, Alice and Jasper and a lot of the vampires are using the term fetus, and Rosalie and Bella are like, it's a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And that
which we'll get into.
Yeah, that feels like a lot that we're gonna get into in a minute. Mm-hmm. So what do you remember next then?
Next, I remember the Cullens decide that Jasper needs to hunt because he's gonna have to deliver the baby.
Carlisle needs to hunt.
Who did I say?
You said Jasper.
And who needs to hunt?
Carlisle. The
what
doctor.
What did I say? Just kidding. I know. So yeah, Carlisle needs to hunt. Mm-hmm. So they decide that Emmett, Carlisle, and Esme are gonna go out. But do they also decide that like Jacob or Leah or Seth are gonna go with them? No.
They go cause a distraction. They try to like call.
Yeah, they have like a parlay.
Yeah.
With Sam and cause a distraction so the Cullens can hunt. Mm-hmm. But they do get chased by a couple wolves, but they make it out fine and are able to hunt, I guess. We don't.
So there's like a territory, like the wolves can't have no control after a certain point, so they're not allowed to. Mm-hmm. If they cross lines, then they're being confrontational, and it breaks the treaty from their end. Okay.
Which I don't... They already think that the treaty's broken anyway, so I don't know why they still stick to it, but...
Listen, if we...
Don't think too much about it, Matthew.
If we existed for every plot hole and tried to get it to make sense, we would be here for hours, maybe days, and would get nowhere.
Okay. But I guess that Carlisle's able to hunt. Mm-hmm. And then, next thing I remember is...
We
at
kind
some
of
point, Leah and Jacob have like a little moment.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what happens in that moment. I think it's sort of like...
That's when they talk about like how they can't hear the other wolves anymore.
And that Leah wishes she could imprint.
So she wouldn't have to worry about Sam and Emily anymore. Mm-hmm. We've also kind of glossed over something that has already happened as well, which is when Bella starts drinking human blood.
Yes. Because she can't keep any food down.
Yeah.
So Carlisle has her drink some O negative. And all the other... So, Emmett, Jasper, and Alice leave. Right? Is Rosalie still there?
Emmett, Carlisle. Oh, when they bring out the blood?
Yeah.
Jasper.
Because they're gonna get buck wild if they smell that blood.
Yes. Emmett, Jasper, and Alice all leave. Because they have not hunted in a while. So this happened before they left for the hunt.
Okay, I see. I get it now.
Carlisle, Esme, and Emmett go to hunt. The others stay behind. When Jacob comes back, they're talking. Edward goes to hand Bella another cup of blood. She drops it, and then... Do you remember?
Gets crunched. Like her big broke back scene.
Yeah.
I need to stop saying big. blank blank. But yeah, she crunches real good.
She breaks her spine.
Yeah, the baby crunches her spine. I feel like we've missed something.
We really haven't, but not a lot happens in this one. Because next is just delivery.
Well, isn't there like a big... Or I guess that's after the baby's born that they fight.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, then the baby's born.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a high budget prosthetic Kristen Stewart that is her stand-in for when, because basically they have to C-section the baby out.
Mm-hmm.
And Bella ends up dying in the process. And Rosalie takes the baby, and Jacob and Edward inject Bella with Edward's venom.
Mm-hmm.
And then do CPR for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And Edward does the bites on her.
Well, Jacob leaves and kind of has like a breakdown kind of moment.
Yeah.
And
is this
then,
when the fight happens?
Yeah. Well, Jacob has the breakdown. He's outside crying, and when we watched the movie, I told Matthew that it's really heartbreaking because you have to remember that Jacob was only 16 when all this goes down, and like that is so much to throw at a 16-year-old. Absolutely too much. Completely unhinged. Like, I understand that like teenagers can handle a lot, but like that is absurd. But he goes in because he's planning on actually killing the baby. Mm-hmm. Now that, it killed Bella, which was the only thing he really cared about. Do you remember?
And then he imprints on the baby.
He does.
For some reason.
Because Stephanie Myers is problematic and not a very good author.
Yeah, don't love this storyline, but I knew it was going to happen. That was like the one thing that I knew. And while he's in there, that's when the wolves show up and have like the confrontation with the Cullens.
Yes.
Because then they're about to do their fight, and then Jacob runs out and he's like, "No, I like the baby now. I will protect the baby."
Yeah.
And they have a fight, but then the wolves leave because Jacob's imprinted on the baby, and I guess the one rule is if you've imprinted, you can't... If something's been imprinted on, you can't harm it. Even though they're not really the same pack anymore, so does that really apply?
Again, plot holes, bud.
Stop thinking about it so much.
Also, just put as much thought into it as Stephanie Meyer did, which is apparently not a lot.
I think I'm putting more into it.
Probably.
So, the wolves leave.
Mm-hmm.
And then they dress up Bella's body. And then there's a nice CGI sequence of her cells being turned into vampire cells. And then the big reveal at the end is her eyes open and they're red.
Yeah. Bright red.
Bright red.
Bright red.
But then, surprise, there's a mid-credit scene that redeems the whole movie. Because the mid-credit scene is the Volturi, not Martin Sheen. That's Charlie Sheen's dad. What's his name? Is it Martin Sheen?
It's Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen. Okay. He, and then the best character in the whole franchise, the weird vampire played by the guy who played the Swede in Hell on Wheels, and a third one who escapes my memory, get a note that Carlisle has expanded his coven.
The third vampire played Anthony in the Sweeney Todd movie.
Oh. Still does not compare to the guy that I love so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Breaking Dawn Part 1. I'm sure I missed a bunch.
1. Again, in this one, I really don't think that... I think you did a pretty decent job synopsizing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, not a lot happens.
Yeah. It didn't seem too meaty of a movie. Do we want to do a quick hydration station real quick? And then we can get into our in-depth analysis of the film.
Yes, I think that would be good.
Hydration station. Oh.
Welcome to Hydration Station, the part of the podcast where we like to drink some water and hydrate ourselves and drink responsibly because we're not very good at it, apparently.
I mean, I feel like we could have gotten a little more buck wild than we did.
Yeah, it's fine. Anyway, drink responsibly, make good choices.
Yeah.
Hydration station.
Put some water in your body.
Yep.
Like Bella puts that blood in her body.
Okay.
Hydration station.
So
that
cool.
Was Hydration station.
Yeah. So yeah, in-depth review. How did that movie make you feel, Matthew?
Conflicted.
Yeah.
So I didn't hate the parts that were like, well, I didn't completely hate the parts that were them on the island.
Okay.
And I didn't completely hate the parts that were like Jacob's conflict. But I did hate the parts that were big yikes. I know I said I would stop saying that, but this one felt, and I might just not be remembering the first three. This one felt maybe the most problematic.
Potentially, I think that we're maybe just like at a point of contention in society at this moment that kind of lends into that. Yeah,
it might be the environment that we're watching this in, too.
Yeah, because like I had said earlier, we were literally watching this movie and like the part where specifically the part where they were talking about like using the term fetus versus baby. And I was like, oh, do I hate Twilight? I think I might hate Twilight. Just because, like, with, like, the Roe v. Wade stuff going on, like, there's just, like, a lot of stuff that, like, having that argument just feels very... Ooh. And, again, like, you have to look at who wrote it, which was a Mormon woman. So, you just kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. It is kind of strange how it's laid out, and... It is a lot, and I don't know that I have the capacity to get into it being a couple beers in this early in a day. But, so... Oh, God, yeah, we gotta move on. I can't, I don't have the capacity. I apologize.
So, that's how you know it's bad.
Yeah. You did have a question earlier about... wolf stuff that you said you were going to ask me later. Do you remember what it was?
I did. And now I don't remember. When did I say that? What were we talking about? I know I did have a question.
Yeah, so we were talking about the wolves and like how they're hearing, like how hearing each other works.
Oh, Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of confused as to, like, how the pack stuff works, but maybe it's just not well explained ever.
And unfortunately, that just kind of comes down to a lot of it is, and this is something that, like, there are a couple things I want to touch on. One, Stephenie Meyer's research when it came to doing this film, which I've kind of teased at a little bit. Using her own words. And then two, like, just how absolutely fucking bizarre the timeline is in the book.
Mm-hmm.
So to get to the first topic, Stephenie Meyer herself has said that she does not care about researching that much when it comes to writing books. And so there's a lot of inaccuracies. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but Rosalie was well-to-do and her father was a banker in the 1920s. What happened in the 1920s that would maybe be rough for bankers and maybe make it hard for them to exist and have a lot of money.
I mean, I remember there being, like, a little road bump in terms of the economy, but I don't know that would be...
Yeah, just a little bump. Just a little bump. Not like a terrible, terrible crash that, like, wrecked a lot of lives, but it's fine.
I don't know what that's like.
Alice goes through electroshock therapy before, like, again, she's obsessed with the 20s, so you'd think, like, if she's putting all this stuff in, like, that era, she could have just researched that era, but didn't. So Alice went through, like, electroshock therapy when she was in the asylum, which hadn't been invented yet.
Mm-hmm.
By the time she was in the asylum. It's riddled, the entire series is riddled with these inaccuracies. But the thing she decided to focus on and buckle down and do her fucking research on was a fucking Confederate soldier name. And...
Because you gotta get that part right.
You got to. If it's not realistic. Stupid. But no, but that's the other thing, because I saw this thing talking about how, you know, she put so much weird thought into Jasper's name, and then, like, talked about how Edward is from the Edwardian era, and then was just like, is that why you picked Edward? Is that why you picked Edward, because he's from the Edwardian era, and you wanted to note that? It was a lot.
Oh, she's more creative than that.
And then the baby's name is horrid and bad.
Renesmee.
It's just a lot. What was the other thing I wanted to touch on?
Another question I did have is, what is... it's not super clear. What is the timeline of the pregnancy in this film?
Yes, the timeline. Oh my god. Okay, the timeline is bananas in the book. Bella is pregnant for, like, 10... Like, Bella knows she's pregnant for, like, 10 days.
Before she's showing, or, like, for the whole pregnancy?
For the whole pregnancy. Okay, so there's the wedding happens during the summer, right? I think like end of July, early August. And then...
Because they had just graduated in the previous film.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that would make sense.
And so... But you have to look, because it is still summer. Like,
it still doesn't make sense.
Well, no. But, so, like, and so I think that, like, they consummate on, like, August 12th or something. And then it's been, like, 14 days since, like, the wedding. So that's when she finds out she's pregnant. The baby is born, like... So it's unclear if it's September 10th or September 11th. There are conflicting sources. It's a lot. But Bella literally knew she was pregnant for, like, 10 days. Like, and, like, the whole pregnancy took place in, like, a course of a month. In the movie, I feel like they kind of spread it out. Because, like, when Jacob comes in, they're like, she came home 2 weeks ago. And they'd spent 2 weeks. So she was probably pregnant for, like, Oh, I think like they try to play it off as like she was pregnant for like a week and then knew,
because it seems like they consummate it that first night they're there, and then when they have the conversation in the bathroom, it's been 14 days. So that she's probably been pregnant for at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Although I might be overthinking it still.
But still, like, that is... And, like, I know that they talk about, like, the rapid growth, but, like, when I say that not a lot happens in this movie, if you think about the timeline of the book, a lot does happen because it's, like, a 3-week period. You know, like, it's like 2 months total.
Well, also, this movie is, I'm assuming, the first half of the book.
Yeah.
So they gotta kind of spread it out.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like in the book they make it feel longer, but the timeline, again, Stephanie doesn't do a lot of research and doesn't really care about inaccuracies. So like the timeline is probably supposed to feel the same length of time, but the dates she throws out just make no fucking sense. I hate it. I learned about myself that I actually don't like Twilight that much in this watch through.
Which sucks for you because we've got one more.
I know, we have one more whole movie left to read or watch. Fuck.
One movie to read. A whole 2-hour film.
It is a 2-hour film. But yeah, no, I just feel like I feel like you learn so much about... Stephanie reveals so much about, like, her ideologies and stuff, and I think that when I read this, again, in middle school, I don't think that I picked up on that, and I've read Twilight once, that's it. It was not a reread for me, and that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, in your defense, I don't think all the media that I consumed in middle school was the best.
No, and I recognize that. But it's just, I don't know. Watching it as an adult... It just shows you how much you've grown. Yeah, I guess. Watching it as an adult, it was just kind of an oof. Do we want to do some... do you have any other things you'd like to add?
I did just want to kind of talk about what we thought the budget was for this movie.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Because that did come up several times in the film. Because there are several points where both Ryan and I were like, why are they not turning into wolves right now? It must be a budget issue.
It really does feel like that. Because, like, there's this... like... I feel like there's, like, these few scenes where, like, the wolves come through, and then there's, like, few scenes where they talk about, like, getting ready to go wolfy, and then they just run off screen. And so it feels like there's just, like, this, like, they lost the budget in the CGI, so they just gotta, zoom away, they're gone, they're wolves, it's fine, we know what they do.
They just got the zoomies. So let's play a little game of IMDb this. What do you think the budget was according to IMDb?
Okay, to be fair, I don't actually know what constitutes a good movie budget.
Would you like... Here, let me give you a different film. Let me give you Eclipse's budget as sort of a guide.
Please.
Let me find Eclipse real quick. Or I accidentally clicked on the first one, so I'm going to give you the first one as a guide.
Okay.
The first one's budget was $37 million.
Okay, I'm gonna say Breaking Dawn Part 1 was probably $60 million.
$110 million US.
Then why are there not more wolves?
Because they had to buy that prosthetic Kristen Stewart.
Which, that's a whole other thing. This movie, and, like, no spoilers to the next one, but the use of prosthetic people is bizarre and horrifying. And it continues.
Good to know.
Good to know.
So yeah, they had the money for it.
They had the money for it. Why didn't they just show the fucking wolves?
I feel like they would have had the assets already.
Yeah.
I don't 100% know how CGI works, but I feel like...
Well, no, but
They had a nice baseline already of the wolves
and we
to work with.
Talked about, like, how, like, even things like Edward sparkling in the sun kind of went away.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, again, like...
Because, yeah, there's whole sequences on the island where they're, like, sitting out in the sun playing chess. Not sparkling. Not even once.
Okay, I actually might be able to explain that. Bella was dreaming when that happened.
Oh, I guess that was a dream.
So maybe that
Okay.
was supposed to be, like, the uncanny, like, Edward would have been sparkling if they were actually out kind of a thing.
Okay, maybe
their budget was fine.
Maybe this movie's a little smarter than I give it credit for.
Don't give it credit.
No credit.
No credit. Yeah, I don't know. This was a rough watch. I feel like I've had fun with the other ones. This one was
a little too topical in a bad way.
Yeah, this one was a little too close to home these days, and just putting it out there, as a woman, I like having rights. What a bizarre concept.
Everything's forgiven, right? Here's a $50 Olive Garden gift.
But yeah, do we wanna jump into final thoughts there?
Sure. I will go first.
Yes.
I give you a moment. So my final thoughts are a lot of yikes. I was kind of hoping there wouldn't be, like, any action in this movie. Like, no fights or anything.
Okay.
Because I felt like that would have been, like, a fun break of formula.
Yeah.
Because I feel like at the end of every movie there's a big fight. And I feel like that would have been a fun break of formula, because it's not really the end of this one, because there's part 2. But there was a fight. Yeah. The optics aren't great on this one. And that's all I feel comfortable saying about that. And, you know, I'll give it 3 out of 10 Breaking Dawns.
Perfect. I'm gonna give it 1.5 out of 10. Again, I don't know if I just, like, kind of only halfway watched before, but it was just rough, and that's fine. Not every movie has to be easy to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But we pushed through and we did it, and we're gonna watch the second one in a few minutes. So that's exciting.
So that's exciting.
Yeah. So, you know, 1.5 out of 10 Breaking Dawns. We did it. We do have.
And if.
Sorry.
Oh,
nope.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I completely forgot about this part, so please. Go ahead.
We have a slight announcement. We're going to be going on hiatus for a bit. We wanted to finish out a couple of series that we'd been doing. That's why we are kind of rushing through Twilight. And we finished up our playlist, our seasonal playlist series. So that way we could kind of feel like this was complete. We're going to be working on probably reformatting the show.
I think so. We haven't, like, super, like, in-depth talked about it, but I think definitely some reformatting in season 2.
Exciting. But so we're just gonna kind of work through what that means for us, take a little bit of a break. It's been really fun. This has been an interesting project that we've done for going on almost 3 years now.
Wild sentence that just came out of your mouth.
And I'm proud of the work that we've done. I feel like we've come a long way. But yeah, so it's just time for us to take a little break. We don't really know exactly how long it'll be. But stick around, maybe find out.
Yeah. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.
Yeah.
Yep. Just keep an eye out.
Yeah. And as we say at the end of every episode,
clink.
It's what I imagine Jay and Silent Bob were like in high school.
Buy the asset that was Sonic's body from Sonic the Hedgehog. Just like slide the beef scale up a little bit, and boom, Luther body.
It was a dystopian hellscape. I said it like 3 times during the movie.
Hey, guess what? I just started recording, so you're fine.
Hey, guess what? I'm also just now recording. Where are you? You're not on Twitch. You're on Discord. Thank you. All right. Big clap.
Big clap.
3, 2, 1, go. 3, 2, 1, go. You didn't do it that time.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't.
Maybe it was so on time that it sounded like I didn't. It wasn't like a very loud one.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. We were not close. And I don't believe that you did it a second time.
I will put audio proof at the end of this episode that I clapped the second time.